Good afternoon, Reverend Tait. Thank you for agreeing to this interview.
Sure.
Reverend Tait is the pastor of St. John Baptist Church, located at 8131 Roxbury Road in Charles City, County, Virginia. We have several questions that we'd like to ask Reverend Tait and members of the church with respect to where we've come from over the last 16 years. Reverend Tait, to begin, where were you and what were you doing when you received news that St. John Baptist Church had been set afire?
Okay, well, first of all, I want to thank you and welcome everybody to this interview, and I thank you for this opportunity. Certainly, on that day, I had just come back from New York City. I had taken my daughter to, she was going to go to Kuwait, and so we had dropped her off and we went back home. By the time I got back home, I got home at around 12 o'clock, and about 4:30, I received a call from Mrs. Bernice Atkins telling me that, about 4:30 I believe, telling me that the church was on fire. And by the time I put my clothes on and got ready to go back, she called again and said that the church had burned to the ground.
It is reported that the fire was the result of arson. As pastor, what were some of the thoughts that went through your mind, and can you describe some of the feelings you experienced when you first heard the news that St. John Baptist Church was burning?
Okay, well, the thoughts that went through my mind was anger, and it was a lot of anger, or to think that somebody would actually come to a church and take the opportunity to burn the church down. I also felt a strong sense of sorrow for a person that would do something such as that. We moved from there to a point of forgiveness. However, it took some time for me to get to that particular point.
We can only imagine how devastating it must have been to learn that such a holy edifice and building was being burnt to the ground. It was actually totally destroyed. Did you ever think that St. John Baptist Church would rebuild? And did you question what it would take to rebuild and how we would make that happen?
Oh, I never had a doubt in my mind that the church would be rebuilt. Never. We have, I think it was Maya Angelou said something. She made a poem called "Phenomenal Woman." We have phenomenal people here in Charles City County, and phenomenal people here at St. John Baptist Church. Certainly, I had only been here over just a few months, over a year, and I had gone around to various people's homes and houses, and I found out a few things, that a lot of the houses here in Charles City, the people actually built the houses themselves. The houses that they live in, some of the people actually built the houses themselves. And the Lord whispered into my ear that if they can build their own houses, they can build His house. And so I had no doubt in my mind that we would come back. None.
As pastor of St. John Baptist Church, what were some of the actions you and other church leaders took to pull together the members and community in order to deal with this crisis?
Okay, well, one of the things that happened at that particular point, while the church was still burning, Reverend Claude Evans of Samaria Baptist Church came, and he theologically speaking, he was sent from God. He came to me, and he told me that we would be able to worship at Samaria Baptist Church for as long as we needed a home. I didn't know Reverend Evans. I didn't know him. I hadn't had any dealings with him. I had gone to the Native American powwows, but I didn't know him per se. But I talked to my people and talked to the deacons and talked to the trustees, and we felt that it would be a good fit. And we went over to the church. We looked at it. It was a very large auditorium. St. John at that time could only hold 80 people in the sanctuary. If it was 100 people, 20 would have to be in the back. And so when we went to this very large auditorium that we went to worship, it was overwhelming for a while, but we managed to get used to it. And the Samaritan people worked with us with such, they had such joy in working with us, and we had such a great time being there. Our congregations got to know each other. I can say this, Reverend Claude Evans is actually Caucasian, and he pastors a church that is Native American, and certainly we are African American. So it merged the whole group in Charles City together. We had people coming and sending gifts and sending collections and doing things for us during this period. We baptized in various churches. We had our vacation Bible school at New Vine. Both of us, both churches combined. We went to every church, to many churches, and we did many things in various churches. In order for us to begin the process of building, I put Mr. Gary Cole in charge of the building committee. And both he and I went to the American Baptist Association, and they gave us a lot of insight and help to begin to put the process together to rebuild the church.
It seems like God has blessed this church with many talented folks, and your description of how others in the community came together to assist and to support reminds me of the rainbow in the heavens. God's church is made up of many colors.
Yes.
Some members have gone on to glory since the fire, and St. John is about to retire its mortgage in record time due to the generosity of God and its members. Members of St. John Baptist Church and the community really do have cause to celebrate. What would you say, sir, is the most important lesson learned or belief to take away from this experience?
That with God, all things are possible.
Sir, we would like to thank you for your comments, and we would like to close with offering you the opportunity to provide closing comments if you so desire.
This has been a tremendous journey that started with me coming to pastor this church. These great people that are here, and we've had a lot of ups and downs with this church, but the people here in this church are phenomenal, God-fearing and God-believing people, strong people, where winds don't topple them, problems don't make them afraid. These are people who are solid as a rock. And even now, as we're going through COVID-19, where 116,000 people have died in the United States, our churches now are closed. The buildings are closed where we can't go into the church. However, we at St. John recognize and realize from our experience that the church is not in the building. The church is actually in the heart of each and every member. God bless you.